If I see a goat, I'm freaking out. If I look at a goat, I'm freaking out. It's the fact that they make that weird noise. It's like, bah. Is it giving chef? It looks like a volcano. Hey, what's up, Besties? Welcome back to my channel. This is my first cooking video. I'm so excited. You're probably like, girl, what is she cooking? Because does she cook? I actually like to bake. I don't like to cook. Tyler's the cook in our household, but I am the baker, okay? I'm a baker. I'm like Peta from Hunger Games. What I'm gonna bake is I'm gonna bake this little bundt cake, and if you've ever been to KFC, they have this like cake. It's like this. It looks like a donut, like a big donut cake. It's triple chocolate, and it has this amazing like frosting on top. While we actually bake and do our thing, girl, we're actually going to be talking about my deepest, darkest fears because I have to make this entertaining somehow. If you're actually like a baking girly and you're looking for where did I get the recipes from, the gluten-free bundt cake, I think it's called, is by Gluten-Free Palette. I just want to make sure that I give them credit. And then the buttercream is by All Recipes. It's their quick and easy buttercream recipe. My first fear that I have is goats. So I'll tell you why. Any animal with horns or like horns growing out of their head, I'm afraid of goats, probably sheep most of the time, lambs, like anything that looks like that, I'm afraid of it. I don't like it. I don't like the way it looks. It freaks me out, and I can tell you why. So I was at a sleepover growing up, I think with my cousin Destiny, and someone on the downstairs TV was watching a movie called Drag Me to Hell, and in the movie, this like possessed goat gets like sacrificed or something, and it turns into the devil. It like literally just like transforms into the devil. And like, I don't know why, but my little like 8-year-old self, ever since that day, horrified. I will never look at a goat the same. Like, they just look scary, and it just gives me the heebie-jeebies. There's like a picture of me with a goat in Puerto Rico. That was another time. Like, that was way before I got the fear. But the fear was so instilled in me that night that if I see a goat, I'm freaking out. If I look at a goat, I'm freaking out. I don't like it. People will send me goat photos. I don't appreciate it. I'm actually afraid of them. It's the fact that they make that weird noise. It's like, bah. I don't like that. That noise, disgusting. I don't like hooves. Oh, hooves freak me out. You know those new Uggs that every single girl is buying? They're like the platform Uggs. I put them in my video of Christmas gifts to buy people because I think they're cute. But when I looked at them for too long, I turned to Tyler the one night, and I'm like,
do you think these Uggs look like hooves?
And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, no. Is it giving chef? I should get an apron. That would be so cute. The next fear that I have is the fear of breaking my teeth into jagged like shark teeth. And the reason why I have this fear is because I had a best friend growing up. Her name was Caitlin. She actually lives in Texas. Shout out Caitlin in Texas. I was her bestie for years and years and years. And then she moved to Texas and left me all alone in dusty Pennsylvania, but now I'm in Texas. So I was basically just talking to her the one day, and I think she fell off the merry-go-round. I think this was the story. Don't quote me on this, but she fell off something in a park. I just remember her being in a park, and she fell so hard that her teeth smashed against the thing, and they got like broken. Like, it broke all of her teeth. Now, whenever I walk somewhere where it's icy, or I'm doing something that I would consider dangerous, like let's say if I'm walking across a puddle or walking down the stairs, I will walk down the stairs and I'll go like this. I will just grind my teeth together, like tighten my jaw. And I'm a teeth grinder at night, so it makes it even worse. But I just do it like unintentionally. My anxiety has been so bad that I'm gonna break my teeth for years. So if I walk on ice, you'll notice I walk with my teeth just like 1 teaspoon of baking powder. And my next fear is Alf. Do you know who Alf is? Alf is like this character. I think he's like an anteater or something like that. He's an old cartoon. I'm terrified of Alf. Like, I don't know what it is. I've always been afraid of this creature. I don't know. But it looks weird. Like, it's furry, but it's not. And it has like this trunk of a nose. And I think that's also translated to like a little bit of a fear of elephants. Just a tiny smidge. Like, when I look at Alf, I think of an elephant and an anteater. I don't like the way anteaters look. There's some animals that I just don't like how they look. I don't like how goats look, rams, sheep, elephants. anteaters. They're all freaky looking. I'm waiting for these eggs to get room temperature. I feel like I should sit on them, like incubate them. My next one is the fear of solitary confinement. Let me explain. During COVID, I was the most depressed I could ever be. I was in every club, like in my college, most of the clubs besides student government. I was in like a lot of extracurriculars, a lot of classes, and I was always talking and talking and talking and talking. And I started doing YouTube. So for me, when I had COVID and I had to stay home, I just remember at that moment, I would look out the window to watch people have conversations in the street because I felt like solitary confinement. I really thought about how people get put in solitary confinement, and I was like, I could never do that. Do you guys remember that episode of SpongeBob where he goes like crazy and he's like, you think you're gonna treat me like that? Like trash? That's how I would get if I wasn't so, I would be like so bad. But these eggs are now room temperature, so I'm gonna go ahead and crack them and put them in here because the oven is ready and I wanna make sure I stir this up and get this in the oven as soon as possible. A half a cup of oil. My next fear is intentionally causing harm to people or someone. So a big example of this is when I was younger, my sister Miranda would always want to fight me. She always wanted to fight. I don't know why, but I'm just not a fighter. So she would like drag me, like literally drag me at her young age. I would get dragged, I got thrown down the stairs. People would just ragdoll me as a child. I don't know if I'd let them do it now. I'd probably be, but I feel like out of malice. Like if I had to protect myself, if someone, like a guy or like someone in the street tried to like grab me, I feel like I would try and protect myself. But I'm terrified of intentionally wanting to cause harm to someone. And you know what, I talked to my therapist about this, and she was saying that this is like an OCD type thing where you're afraid that you're gonna hurt those around you. I just feel like when it comes to intentionally harming people, if you know, I have another channel where I do like true crime and all that, and I wanted to do true crime for a very long time, and I think that's why I watch true crime, because it's honestly disturbing to me that people would want to intentionally cause harm to another person out of malice in any way. Like I know some people are proven insane and that they actually have schizophrenia or something like that. That's a whole different situation than if you go out and you want to intentionally cause harm to someone. Look at it. Oh my gosh, I'm such a baker, guys. I'm gonna move this over to the oven. So my next fear is being able to never have a child. And the only reason this is a fear of mine is because I really want to have children one day. I feel like I would be a great mother, and I would love like for my child to be able to experience a lovely like life and just have fun. One of my worst fears, because I struggle with Hashimoto's and like some issues, I just as a girl, like this is girly moment, I just have always had issues with like my periods and stuff. And so since I was younger, I've always just worried like, what if I can't have kids one day? We have a little bit of a problem. The cake is spilling everywhere and I don't know what to do. I have to tell Tyler. Basically what happened was I didn't realize that gluten-free cake rises, because it says in a lot of recipes that I've done that it does not rise like traditional cake, because gluten-free cake is like not spongy. And so I was freaking out because it started overflowing in the pan and going all over the bottom of the oven, and then it smelled like burnt chocolate. I'm afraid of sleep paralysis. That's one of my big fears. Like something like sleep paralysis, demons, sleep paralysis. I don't know. I'm not a sleep paralysis girly. One time I was actually here in the apartment. I don't think I've had it very much here in the apartment. Probably like once. Back in my room when I was in the attic of my mom's house, and my mom and my dad's house, that was my original room for all of my teenage years. That was so bad with sleep paralysis. It was constant. Like I would get sleep paralysis all the time. Especially I noticed in that house, if I slept on my left or right side, I was perfectly fine. But if I slept on my back, sleep paralysis, sleep paralysis. And when I was younger, I used to get sleep paralysis that there was a man with a black hat. I remember that. But the only time here I had it, I was just like stuck. stuck, like frozen. I could not move. I couldn't wiggle my toes. Like I couldn't do anything. But I started mixing the buttercream. This is what it looks like so far. I'm just going to scoop it around and then mix it even further and make sure it gets really fluffy. I think the cake is done, so I'm going to take it out of the oven. Got my glove on. Let me go ahead and take it out. Where there's fight or flight, I freeze because this has happened so many times in my life. One time, me and my friend Caitlin, I had 3 friends Caitlin in my life. So this is my second best friend Caitlin. In high school, we were walking home and she lived near me, like literally right down the block. And there was a chihuahua and it was set free, and it must have been one of our neighbor's dogs, but I just remember being shaken in my boots. I froze up and the chihuahua came up to her and started like barking and barking. I thought it was gonna bite her, and for some reason I was crossing the street and I just stopped. I froze. So that was one moment, like I feel powerless when I freeze, and it's happened quite a few times in very important moments. And so I'm scared that one day, it depends, like I feel like if it was an intruder or something, I feel like I would not freeze because I would care about like my boyfriend or someone being in the house. But because it's me, I think like for animals I freeze. I flipped it. Oh, well, it's not the prettiest cake in the world, but it'll do. So I looked at r/ask Reddit, and a lot of people said that their very biggest fear is not succeeding in life or failing their goals. And that's actually one of my last fears that I'm going to talk about here. Probably the last fear is not achieving any of my goals, either that be on YouTube or in life in general. I feel like I've worked pretty hard to try and achieve my goals, and I'm just really scared of one day not making anything that I've wanted to do, like not getting my master's, let's say not getting a PhD one day. Probably wouldn't get one if I became famous. Maybe I would, actually, because I would have more money. I'm so proud of myself. It's working, guys. Okay, queen. Pop off. This is terrible, but look at the final results. That's okay. I'm going to reveal the cake to Tyler, so let me go ahead and grab him and then I'll show him the cake. It looks like a volcano. Okay, are you ready? Okay, come out. Okay, let me show you what it's supposed to look like. Okay?
What the?
No, hold on. This is what it's.
It's kind of there.
Do you see the vision? Do you see the vision at least? Like
The cake just had a stressful day.
okay, now we're gonna try it. So I'm moving it near you. Okay, it's triple chocolate cake with vanilla buttercream ice. Okay, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
You got a big old piece.
It tastes really good.
That's not too far off. Like the texture,
The icing's really good too.
I like it.
It's a lava cake.
It's a lava cake.
I'm trying to do a lava cake.
Thank you, Bestie, so much for watching. I know it wasn't the prettiest cake, but I hope you got to know me from this video. Love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe down below. Bye, guys.